All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Data is no longer just an everyday reporting tool or a dusty spreadsheet you look at once a quarter. It's a vital, strategic survival skill. We are moving far, far beyond simply crunching numbers here. This is literally about staying alive, moving faster, and competing more effectively in an incredibly dynamic environment.
So, let me ask you something right off the bat. Think about the very last high-stakes choice your organization made. Was that strategy based on gut instinct or hard data? Corporate history is just littered with disastrous gut instincts. Think about Blockbuster's infamous decision to pass on buying Netflix, all because the leadership simply didn't believe in the model. Relying entirely on a manager's intuition or their past experience, that used to be the absolute gold standard in business. But today, when millions of dollars, people's jobs, and actual market survival are constantly on the line, a hunch just doesn't cut it anymore. We're basically on this massive evolutionary journey. We're officially leaving behind that obsolete Mad Men era of management. The one that relied heavily on personal intuition, historical success patterns, and was almost entirely reactive to events as they happened. Instead, we are stepping into the modern, data-driven approach. This new era is relentlessly evidence-based, it's highly objective, and it is intensely predictive. We're moving away from scrambling to react to what happened yesterday, and we're proactively planning for exactly what's going to happen tomorrow. Now, this shift hasn't just happened in a vacuum, right? It was born out of the pure chaos of the modern business environment. There are 4 essential driving forces that make this data-driven evolution an absolute necessity. First up, rapid technological change. Tech cycles have violently compressed from decades down to mere months. Second, global competition. Severe business-ending threats can emerge from anywhere on the planet in real time. Third, we face incredibly complex customer behavior, all shaped by a massive web of digital touchpoints. And finally, massive data availability. There is just so much structured and unstructured information swirling around us today, which creates an immense opportunity for sure, but also a strict obligation to actually extract strategic insight from it. Okay, moving into Section 1, the Strategy Data Toolkit and Categorizing Information. So the foundation of this toolkit relies on 4 distinct but heavily intersecting quadrants. We've got internal, external, quantitative, and qualitative data. To make truly effective strategic decisions, you simply cannot afford to isolate just one type of information. It's like a giant puzzle. You have to draw on all of these categories simultaneously. It's all about knowing which specific information source to select and interpreting those multifaceted insights accurately. The contrasts here are pretty sharp, and understanding them is absolutely crucial. Internal data measures things like your own sales performance and operational efficiency. It basically diagnoses your internal organizational health. External data, on the flip side, looks out the window at shifting market trends and economic indicators to spot broad opportunities or looming threats. Meanwhile, quantitative data gives you the hard, objective numbers, like revenue figures and precise market share percentages. But qualitative data? That's the really interesting stuff. That's your customer feedback, employee opinions, brand sentiment. It reveals the crucial why behind those numbers. You see, quantitative tells you sales dropped 10%. Qualitative tells you it's because your brand perception just took a massive hit online.
Let's move on to Section 2, Data Across the Cycle and the Strategic Management Process.
Using data isn't just some one-off task you do at an annual retreat. It is the connective tissue of your entire management cycle. Let's walk through these 4 sequential stages. Step 1 is environmental scanning. This is where you use external data to track competitive threats and industry growth rates, identifying critical risks super early on. After scanning, we move to Step 2, strategy formulation. Here, you leverage insights, like customer segmentation data, to decide between, say, a premium or a mass market entry strategy. Then comes Step 3, strategy implementation, where you're rigorously monitoring operational efficiency metrics and KPIs while actively rolling out your plan. And finally, Step 4, evaluation and control. This is where you compare your actual revenue against your initial projections to trigger necessary course corrections. The data just flows seamlessly, informing every single one of these essential steps. Let's pivot slightly for Section 3, from reactive to predictive in business analytics.
So business analytics systematically escalates in value across 3 increasingly sophisticated levels. Step 1 is descriptive analytics, which really just asks, what happened? This is essentially looking in your rearview mirror through standard sales reports and basic dashboards. Step 2 is diagnostic analytics, asking, why did it happen? This brings in root cause analysis and much deeper trend breakdowns. But Step 3, Predictive analytics. This is the absolute game changer, guys. This asks, what will happen? It operates like a corporate crystal ball, utilizing advanced algorithms to model future market scenarios and generate highly accurate demand forecasts.
In practice, high-performing organizations use these advanced predictive setups to anticipate massive market disruptions before they even arrive. They've moved entirely beyond simply describing the past. By modeling the future, they operate with incredible foresight. They are acting proactively and seizing market share while everyone else is still busy reacting to yesterday's news.
And embedding this level of foresight, it creates massive, compounding advantages. It all starts with improved accuracy. Decisions are suddenly grounded in firm evidence, making them incredibly precise. That precision inherently reduces your risk because you're spotting threats long before they mutate into costly crises. And that security, it allows for much faster, real-time decisions. When you can move that quickly, it generates a massive competitive advantage. Data-savvy firms act decisively while competitors are still trying to gather their bearings. Ultimately, all of this leads to better resource allocation. You optimize exactly where your financial and human capital goes, focusing strictly on the highest impact opportunities.
Which brings us to Section 4, Navigating the Data Hurdles and Actionable Solutions.
So, is your organization drowning in data but somehow starving for insight? It's an incredibly common hurdle when implementing analytics. But the good news is, every major challenge has a direct organizational response. If you face data overload, where too much information paradoxically leads to worse decisions, you have to establish clear decision frameworks that define exactly what data actually matters. Struggling with data quality issues? Implement strict data governance and regular audits so your strategic foundation isn't built on flawed, untrustworthy numbers. Dealing with a lack of data literacy? Build robust, organization-wide training programs so your managers can critically interpret the results themselves, instead of blindly deferring to analysts. And if you're hampered by technology limitations, prioritize investments in modern cloud platforms and powerful business intelligence tools. High-performing firms treat all of these as totally solvable management problems, not permanent constraints.
So the overarching takeaway of this explainer is simple but profound. Treating data as a true strategic asset and not just some end-of-month reporting chore grants a lasting, measurable competitive advantage. It empowers true foresight, fundamentally shifting your organization from a state of reactive management into a posture of truly proactive leadership.
As we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final, pretty provocative question. Is your organization ready to predict the future, or are you still just reacting to the past? Take a hard, honest look at your own internal processes. The modern analytical tools are out there, the data is constantly flowing, and the choice of how to harness it is entirely yours. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I genuinely hope this sparks some serious, evidence-based conversations in your very next strategy meeting.